Hello, everyone. My name is Zara Mutalib. I'm a third year molecular cell biology and physiology major, and I'm also one of the Ours Connects peer advisors. Today, I'm going to be talking about some job interview tips and tricks, and let's get started with the presentation. As we all know, this is something that everyone's going to experience at least once in their lives. And I hope by this presentation, it can calm your nerves down towards the process and make the journey towards job interviewing a bit easier. Starting off, I'm going to be talking about what an interview is all about. So, when looking for a career change or applying for a new job, employees may ask you to participate in this act, which is job interviewing. It is a process to understand the character traits, skills, and attitude to work. The interview allows an employer to decide whether or not you're a suitable candidate for the position. There are many different types of interviews that you can expect. It can be one-on-one or in a group setting. Some include a structured interview where an employee asks you a fixed set of questions, and then it can also be unstructured where it's just a conversation between you two and you're getting to know the person more towards an informal side. You never know which one you're going to expect. So this presentation will go over the key tasks that need to be done. There are 6 key interview tips that I have mentioned on this slide. Number 1 includes research. The second, prepare answers. Third, practice. Fourth, look the part. Fifth, body language. And sixth, ask questions. I broke it down to these 5 categories because I feel like once you have it all completed, it's a very good process to keep in mind. In addition, if you hit all these points, you're more likely to leave an interview you are proud of. The first tip mentioned is research. This is the most important step in this process. You have to first learn about the company or the project you are applying for and going to be questioned on. You have to learn their goals. So you can do this by refreshing your memory, by reading the project description again, and brushing up on learning any definition of terms that you are not familiar with at first glance. On this slide, I've highlighted factors to look up during your research. The first one includes capacity, which talks about like what are the current skills that you need and if you can offer those skills. And how are you going to portray that and what scenarios you're going to use to portray that you have those skills within the conversation. Moving on to effort is how much time you can give the company. It's one of the questions that is very common to be asked. And if you have a thought out number before you go in, it doesn't leave any room for doubt. The next category being achievements and what are the qualities of a good candidate. You could research the qualities that they're looking for and probably use the keywords to highlight your conversation even more. And then learning more about the culture mission so that you can reiterate it during the conversation, and then they know what you are applying for and show that you are educated on the position, about the position. Moving on to any challenges that the company faced and learn more about the one interviewing you and how they got the position. And if possible, you can maybe reach out and speak to people in the company to get more insight. The second tip is prepare answers. Again, I listed out 3 ways this can be done. The first is brainstorming. So taking all the research you've gotten and mapping it out so that you learn how you're going to present and talk about the information. While you write answers down, it can also help you speak eloquently during the process. In addition, the next step is getting feedback. This can be asking help from those with experience. And lastly, trying to link any faculty or name dropping anyone during the interview conversation can be an advantage so that it gives the interviewer a sense of that you know more people working at the job or the lab project, and you have more references. The third tip is practice. I've lifted up some common interview questions and ways to think of an answer. The most common question asked is the tell me about yourself. For this, you just have to basically state stuff about you and list one or two things that make you different. The other questions include where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the way you can answer this is by understanding yourself and then preparing answers, so writing your answers out after brainstorming. The next question is what are your strengths and weaknesses? You can think about this with the process of what, so what the weakness or strength is, action, how it occurred, and then result is how you're learning from it. And lastly, another common question is why should we hire you? It shows this question is very common because it shows whether or not you're a suitable candidate. So by giving examples of your accomplishment and having it be directly related to the job you're interviewing for is the way to go in answering this question or this type of question. Moving on to the fourth tip, which is look the part. By dressing appropriately or dressing to impress, it sets the ambience of the interview. Going in with a business casual attire shows professionality, and that can include pants with a shirt and tie or a blouse or any dress of your choice. The fifth tip is body language. The feeling of nervousness is bound to happen. So by acknowledging that these things might happen can help you practice to avoid some tiny nonverbal mistakes that we're all bound to make. Some of them include playing with hair, no smiling, wrong posture, crossing arms, no eye contact, and no information. So you're going for the interview, you need to be enthusiastic. You want to show them that you are eager for the job and you have a great personality. We do not want to be dull during an interview. It's not a good light and it just bores the conversation. So by keeping a lookout of these popular nonverbal mistakes, you can help practice and you can ask the person you're practicing with to see if you ever made these mistakes and just work on toning it down a little bit. So some things to do during an interview include listening attentively, sitting up straight in the chair, and communicate, don't dominate. As much as you want to learn about them and ask questions, you have to learn to sometimes sit back and listen because at the end of the day, they're the ones hiring you. Um, and then these are some ways that can also help with the last point mentioned from the previous slide, how to engage the interviewer. So some ways to do that is you can use the questions that I listed at the end of your answers. So at the end of the answers being asked. So it could include, did I answer your question sufficiently? Would you like to learn more? And how can this work with your goals? And the last sixth tip is asking questions. Always, always, always ask questions, and you should prepare these questions in advance, of course. It's important as it sums up the whole interview and it shows that you were paying attention. Things you can ask about are what will my job roles consist of? Do I have to complete training development for this job? Can you tell me about the team I'll be working with? What are the common attributes of your top performers? By asking these type of questions, it allows the interviewer to know that you were attentive and eager and motivated to get the position. It leaves you with a good note. In the end, make sure you always thank the interview for their time and send a follow-up note about thanking them for the opportunity given. It can be handwritten or emailed. And this is the end of the presentation, and I just want to share some resources that CSULB offers. We have the Ours Connects office, where our peer advisors help with any resume, cover letter, and job interview helps. We also have the Career Development Center up in the Brotman Hall and the University Writing Center up in the Sharkarian Center. So I hope with this presentation, you can all ace the interview process and get whatever position you are aspiring for. Thank you.